Hi, I'm Eric, and this is Station 3. This channel is about solving problems with my hands and my head, not so much about the gear I make or tutorials, more how I think through making it. The bags, the mounts, the fixes for all the stuff that never quite fits right out of the box. Over the years, I put together a shop that lets me chase just about any idea. A 2 by 72-inch belt grinder that I built myself, sewing machines for canvas and leather, MIG and TIG welders, a CNC mill, a CNC operated plasma cutter I built from scratch, and a 3D printer that's always running something. Different tools, same purpose, take a problem and make a thing that solves it. Some of it works the first time, some of it I learned the hard way. Either way, I'll show you how it comes together, the thinking, the mistakes, the version that finally works. I've spent a long time in the fire service, so every so often I'll share some of the calls. Nothing too heavy, mostly just funny ones or ones that stuck with me a little different. I should have started writing them down about 14 years ago when I started, but I didn't, so I'll share them with you now instead as part of the ride. That's the plan. Let's get into it. Apparently, my crazy neighbor across the street was watching me pack my bike. Thought it'd be funny to play some stripper music out his window.
That's right, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
So here's what actually started all this. I made a couple of bags, crash bar bags, built to fit my bike instead of somebody else's idea of my bike. They came out good enough that I figured I should take them out, put some miles on them, and film the whole thing. How hard could that be? Turns out I had no idea what I was walking into. It started before I even got moving. I bought a remote to trigger the DJI Action 4 that I bought for the trip, and it wouldn't pair, wouldn't connect, wouldn't respond, nothing. Come to find out, it's not actually a DJI remote, just looks like one. It's the kind of detail you learn the expensive way. So instead, I'm reaching up to the camera hanging off the front of my helmet, trying to find a button I can't see at 40 miles an hour, hoping I hit record and not stop. Half the time I got it backwards. And the batteries, you'd think I'd have that part handled. I didn't. There's nothing quite like lining up a shot and watching the little icon blink at you right before it dies. The writing had its own lessons. I rolled into camp the first night feeling pretty good about myself, and it was full, completely full. So much for that plan. I ended up sitting on my bike for another 4 hours riding into what I had planned to be day two's camp. Pretty sore, stiff back, tired knees, aching neck. But somewhere in all of it, the bags did exactly what I built them to do. Nothing shifted, nothing rattled. Everything I threw at them stayed in them. At least one thing on this trip worked the first time. And then I got home, dumped the footage, and found out the ride was the easy part because I'd actually make something out of it in DaVinci. I've run CAD, I've run CNC software, I've taught myself more programs than I can count, and I still sat there for an embarrassing amount of time just trying to make one clip go faster than another. A pile of clips isn't a video the same way a pile of steel isn't a bag. Somebody's got to sit down and decide what it's going to be. Turns out that somebody was me, and I was learning it as I went. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. I could have put this off. It'd be easy. I could have spent a year buying the right gear, learning every menu in DaVinci, planning the perfect route, waiting until I knew what I was doing before I let anybody see it. And I'd have nothing. A year later, still nothing but a plan and a list of excuses. So I jumped in instead, with the wrong remote, a camera flopping off the front of my helmet, a campsite that didn't have room for me. And yeah, most of it went sideways. But it got made. It exists, and the next one's going to be better because now I know 100 things I didn't know last week. Fail fast, fail forward. You learn more from the version that went wrong than from the one you never started. So, whatever it is you've been putting off, quit waiting for perfect. Just start.
The Libby Dam.
This is Eureka, Montana. Driving through, was going to the gas station, and there's a rodeo. Um, just starting to fill up the parking lot. Didn't capture the footage of me getting fuel because why would I? But I pull in, and there's a couple tweakers trying to put air in a tire that's all the way down to the rim, and cussing and kicking and having a fit. And I went in and got some water and something to eat and came back out. And to my surprise, they had air in that tire. I don't know if you've ever tried to fill up a tire that's all the way down on the rim with the bead busted, but doing it on a gas station compressor is something to behold. Day one's in the books. I got about 8 hours in the saddle. Somewhere around 400 miles. Quite a few more miles than I wanted to put on today, but the camp that I had planned on going to for night one was full, so kind of ended up just pushing on and going straight to day two's camp. If you've ever ridden a KTM 1290, you know that it's got about a 2-hour seat on it, and it's a semi-aggressive riding position, so it wears your back out pretty quick. So I was done by about 3 o'clock today. I think I got into camp at 7:30 or something like that. Lots of really good scenery and lots of good riding. Camp could be better. Surrounded by screaming children, a barking dog, the dumpster. I'm a stone's throw away from the outhouse, and I think the guy about 2 stalls down has the cheapest generator you can buy from Harbor Freight. So not exactly the peaceful, quiet, secluded night I was hoping for, but we made it here. Bike ran great. A lot of good miles. Managed to scrap up a little firewood and build a little fire, and I'm gonna throw some dinner together and call it a day. So check back in with you tomorrow. I don't really know what it is or where it came from, but there's something about boiling water on a camp stove when it's dark outside that gives me the fizz. I set the camera up to do a hyperlapse of the sunrise and went back to bed. And unlike me, I stayed in bed for longer than I anticipated and got some really good sleep. Unfortunately, I left the camera on hyperlapse or whatever it's called, so everything else that I took for footage the rest of the day was hyperlapse, which is basically nothing. So there's that. One more thing. All right, just a quick breakdown on the last trip, kind of a shakedown run on camera equipment that turned out to be not so good, at least on my end, and the gear that I put together that I'm kind of figuring out as we go. I made these bags to kind of free up some space in my panniers. I've got all my first aid equipment, obviously, in this one. I custom fit it to fit into my crash bars. Posted these on one of the KTM forums, and it was not well received because a lot of people apparently believe that it blocks the exhaust that comes out of here somehow if the exhaust is trying to go sideways. Maybe I don't know. There's 5 times the amount of surface area for ram air in the front that pushes the exhaust out those ports, and then also a fan that aids in that. So I didn't see any negative side effects doing 90 miles an hour for an hour and a half in 90-degree weather. Another one on this side is all my mechanical stuff. So I can keep my tool kit that came with the bike, some extra tools, zip ties, tire repair kit, that kind of thing, all stays up in there. And then the bags that I made for the trip, I keep some loose stuff in here, and then I have a bag for clothes, coffee mug, spare fuel. I didn't use it on this trip, but I just bought the fuel cylinder that's got a relief valve, and then took some old Coleman strap and sort of set it up as molly so I can run bungees or straps through it and attach it to the exterior of the bike. Didn't need it this trip. And then it's got a yoke that goes around the neck that I can tighten up right in here. So we'll see how that works on another trip. Sleeping gear, just my pad and my pillow got shoved in here when I was packing up. My sleep roll I keep outside of the bag, or outside of the bike, outside of the panniers, I should say. So sleeping bag, tent, and a chair, all of the stuff that I am going to get into during the ride, I kind of keep back here, and batteries, some Propel to add to my water, just miscellaneous stuff like that. And then on this side, I made where the exhaust takes up space in this pannier, I made a separate bag that kind of sucks up some of that space and makes it so that another bag can fit in there flat. So I just keep all my toiletries and some miscellaneous stuff in here. And then I put food in this one for this go round. I think I can get another bag that fits into the lid a little bit better, so I'll probably work on that. I wish I would have made some video of building these, but was kind of in a rush to get it done before the ride. And then some dirty flip-flops out here. So that's kind of the quick breakdown of what I need for a 3 or 4 day trip. Also, I carry a hydration bladder on my back. And then I have a refill that I keep in one of the panniers. So if I need to refill it before I get to a gas station, I can do that. So that's sort of the down and dirty of what I got going on for this trip. I wish the video footage would have come together a little bit better, but for my first run trying to film, not terrible. Well, pretty terrible. One of the problems was I had a remote control set up right here to turn the camera on and off, and it didn't pair, and I didn't find that out until the morning I was leaving. So I ended up sending that back to Amazon, and I'll be buying a actual DJI remote control for the camera on my chin mount. I did build another attachment point right here, and I've played around with that a little bit. I don't love the footage, but it might be just a different point of view to add some B-roll into some future clips. But I just 3D printed a clamp and then an attachment point on there. I've looked at some other attachment points for better angles, and seems like probably the best bet is to use a 360-degree camera. I did notice while riding and trying to capture some of the views required me to turn my head while driving, and with traffic in front of you, it just didn't feel very safe. So it turned into more of a glance left and right, which isn't come across very good in the footage, but live and learn. So that's the bike setup. Well, my friend, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. You're an absolute legend. This video is admittedly not that great, but it's really the only way to get the kinks worked out. And I figured I might as well put one in the can and get it out of the way. As you can tell, I'm not real keen on talking in front of the camera, so there's a lot of voiceover, but I'm sure I'll be able to break through that eventually. We're closing out here with me just getting the bike back into showroom condition. I do wish that I had it set up to do more off-roading. It's my daily commuter to get back and forth to the station for work, so it's got street tires on it. So I'm not super keen about taking it on dirt because it kind of gets greasy with as much horsepower as the bike has. Yeah, I'm getting it as clean as I can. During a pretty long stretch of road, they were laying oil down over the gravel and had it down to one lane. And the lane that I was traveling on for most of that was fairly freshly oiled. So I got quite a bit of road oil on the chassis, and I'm probably going to have to go after it again with some tar remover. But yeah, I just put a towel over the windshield and let that soak. It was absolutely covered with bugs. And then give it a good wash, and then I'd bring my leaf blower out and get all the water out of it, and then let it sit out in the sun and dry. So thanks for sticking along for the ride. I hope to see you at a future video when things don't suck as bad as they did on this one. So thanks for sticking with me. Take care.